Hello and welcome back to step 6, humanizing your manuscript. Now, we have written an entire manuscript with AI, and GPT-4 is a great language model, so you can get an amazing manuscript. But yes, it is not perfect and it is not humanized enough. So we need to make sure that the manuscript, section by section, gets a more human touch. Usually, AI language tends to be too standardized, too structured, too much of the same. So you have the entire book chapter here where I talk about this at length. You also get a number of prompts that you can use to make specific adjustments. So if you go through here, we talk about spicing up and creating more variety in the sentence beginnings, varying the sentence length and structure. We talk about adding a broader vocabulary. We talk about personalizing content if it fits, of course, only if it fits the content you're writing, and adding a little context. There's various techniques that you can do. It's hard in this chapter to demonstrate this in video because it really depends on your text, okay? But I want to go to the manuscript that I have and just look a little bit at the text and see maybe what we could adjust. So just start at the beginning here. Introduction. The introduction I like the tone here. Welcome, new moms. This book is a warm embrace, a guide created just for you as you embark on one of life's most beautiful, albeit challenging journeys, motherhood. I like the tone. It's empathetic, it's understanding, it is engaging. This is really good. This, of course, is a little more structured because we talk about the content of the book, but it does describe the chapters and the sections. However, here, often it's not an entire text, but it is sentence beginnings, like in the intricate dance of new motherhood, right? Like nobody would say that. Um, those are things you have to look out for, right? It's usually not an entire paragraph. It's usually just a few phrases that are really strange. So, in the intricate dance of new motherhood, probably you can think of something yourself to make this sound more natural. But uh, yeah, these are the kind of things we need to humanize. Um, for example, what you can always do is let's just take two paragraphs as an example. You can go to ChatGPT and say, please humanize this text for me to make it sound more natural and rigid or less standardized. And then we'll just do a comparison. Again, humanization will ultimately require your work or someone that you outsource it to. But with the right prompts, we can get some work done. So what do we have? An intricate dance of new motherhood, where every step is intertwined with the well-being of your baby. And then we have becoming a new mom is like stepping into a complex dance where every move you make is connected to your baby's happiness and health. All right, I mean, it's not very different, but I already like it more. It sounds a little more alive. Amid this beautiful, chaotic journey, self-care emerges as a shining light of hope. Nah, that's too much AI again. Right. Plus, it's almost the same. We often hear about the early days of motherhood being packed with endless tasks. Okay, I like this. This is already better. This is better. It's not perfect, but it's already better. So it does take my prompt to heart and it does make it less rigid and less standardized. here too, the journey of postpartum recovery and adaptation involves an intricate web of physical healing. That's plus we have intricate again, right? That's not good writing. So, what do we have here? Recovering from childbirth and adjusting to new life involves a delicate balance of physical healing and emotional adjustment. Your body's on a mission to repair itself after the incredible feat of bringing new life into the world, and it needs your kindness and patience. At the same time, your emotions are on a roller coaster ride. Okay, so just compare those two, right? This one is not as good as this one. So I just used a single prompt. I literally tell ChatGPT to humanize this content, and it does a decent job. So if nothing else, in a first step, you could use a prompt like this and say, please humanize this text for me to make it sound more natural. You can always say that and then maybe say less of what the problem with the current text is, right? What I think is what is often the case, it is often too rigid and too standardized. So there will be too many nouns, there are not enough verbs, the sentences are often passive, there's too many articles. It's always the journey of the body, the mind, and often it uses words or nouns that seem out of place. So just using this prompt, you can already get a decent result, right? And yeah, you can start using a prompt like this if you generally want to improve. However, if you have diagnosed that there is a specific problem with the text, then you should talk about that, right? So if you feel that it's too monotonous and the sentences are always the same length and they always start the same way, you should go with a prompt like this. Um, yeah, if the vocabulary sounds boring, you can work with this. And you have the book with you, so you can just read through this, okay? Keep in mind when you humanize, this will only be the first step. And at some point, you need to outsource the humanizing probably to someone else. Or when it comes to editing and proofreading your book later, you will have someone else read over the book that you humanized. All right. And here again, we also have Fiverr to go to if you need to find someone to humanize content. So the keyword I recommend are humanize AI content. And as you can see, there is enough choice for this in any budget. There's thousands of workers already offering a gig on this, right? And yeah, I mean, go through them, open them, compare them. Again, there will be different price points. So I would probably go for mid-range, maybe even go for value and just give it a try. That's something I have done, and there have been good and bad results. Focus on humanizing because some of them will say it is all about passing AI detectors, but passing AI detectors is more of an issue when you write academically because Amazon doesn't explicitly say that they don't want AI written content, right? What it is all about is the customer experience or the reader experience. So also maybe when you communicate with your freelancer, tell them that it's all about the tone, right? I like the way that they make it sound human vibes, right? Tell them that it's about making it sound natural, that the text should flow naturally. It is not so much about passing an AI detector, but you want to have a good flowing text. Keep this in mind. Again, you have the three offers here. If you have a very unique request, then just write here. I would again always make sure when you write with them that you tell them it's about humanizing the content. Some of them are too focused on academic writing. proofread and humanize. That's actually what I prefer, right? Because you don't really need to rewrite too much. You don't need to change the text as it is. You often just need to take a few expressions or phrases in the sentence and change them to make them sound more natural, and you already have a great result. So go to Fiverr, look through some offers, and get a better feeling for the freelancers, also for the budget and the costs that they have. These costs can change, so there's no point in focusing too much on this right now. I would start with value and just see. And if you have an entire book that you need to humanize, it is worth to hire 2 or 3, give them a test of 1,000 words, and see what the result is. You can also write them kind of like how they normally do the work, how they're going to go about humanizing. You can ask them what aspects they will pay to the most attention and get a better feeling if they really know what they're doing. Because, of course, you don't want someone who just puts this into ChatGPT themselves and then gives it back to you. You want someone who's really manually working over and improving the manuscript to make it sound human. Okay, I would say that's all about humanizing content. Again, keep in mind, you need to humanize your manuscript, otherwise you may get reviews when you publish a book saying that, oh, this was written by ChatGPT. I'm sure this was written by ChatGPT. And then you get 1-star reviews. Even if you humanize very well, I have just found, and I have to tell you honestly, now that it's almost 1.5 years that ChatGPT is out, some people are just too skeptical. And almost every book I've looked at that has been released in the last 1.5 years has some comments where some people say a great book. I've learned a few things, but it reads like it was written by ChatGPT, right? So just note that it will probably still happen to you that you are going to get some reviews, or 1 or 2 people will say this was written by ChatGPT, right? And you just have to accept this because that's the age we're living in now, and everyone is super skeptical. And it's not I'm not saying the customer should think differently. It's just the question should not be, was this AI written or not? The question is this easy to read? Do I understand the content? Am I learning something? And your focus should still be on writing a book that is easy to read, that has good reading flow, that has good transitions, and where people will really learn something. Because if people are learning, then they will keep reading the full thing, and it will also be very likely to leave a 5-star review because they're happy and satisfied with what they got. All right, so that's all about humanizing, and next we'll continue with editing and proofreading.